Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight we are doing kind of an impromptu show with one of our favorite guests in the whole wide universe, Mr. Ron Placone. So thank you so much. We love when you come to join us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love stopping by. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to stop by in California one of these years. I
It's
know.
waiting for you. Yeah, it's sunny and yeah, it's gonna be here. Stop now before it's underwater.
Yeah, true, absolutely. So you reached out because you want to talk about something specifically that you're working on. So why don't you tell our audience what you one of your focuses is right now?
Well, so I'm working with an organization called Fight for the Future. I collaborated with them on our net neutrality campaign, which you helped out with, and now we're working on banning facial recognition. So what that is, I mean, facial recognition technology is exactly what it sounds like. It's technology that's supposed to be able to ID people by their faces, which right away in a society as policed as ours, you kind of have to ask yourself, well, is that something we need, or is that a bit of an overreach? And the answer, especially with what's been going on, it's an overwhelming yes, it is an overreach. No, it is not something that we need. So first of all, the facial recognition technology that's been unrolled is incredibly faulty. There was a control study in London. It is actually wrong 98% of the time, which, it's been a while since I've been in school, but I'm pretty sure that's a failing grade by a lot. But so it's very faulty. It mismatches people regularly. And there's no data supporting that this makes us safer. In fact, there's actually the opposite. A bunch of detectives have come forward and they're saying, look, this doesn't actually make us safer. This doesn't help us catch the bad guy. This is actually just a tool for law enforcement and ICE to abuse, which, by the way, they have been doing already. There's been reports of police searching these databases without warrants, without probable cause. One police officer used this database to try to find information about an ex. So, and that's partially because this stuff is completely unregulated. It's happening behind closed doors. So we don't really know what different entities like law enforcement and ICE are really doing with this stuff. Not to mention, it's very susceptible to hacking. Again, this is very faulty equipment. It's already been hacked. There was a border protection office that got hacked. A bunch of traveler photos that were like documented traveler photos were all hacked, all taken. So we could be in a situation where they have our IDs, they have photos pertaining to our IDs, and that all just gets hacked. And who knows who has it. Another, for instance, that's happening, the companies that are creating this stuff, Microsoft is among the companies, Amazon, what a shock, is among the companies. They're also willing to sell this to private businesses. So there could just be some private entity out there that has facial recognition technology. We can't do a thing about it. They can do whatever they want with it. Regulation does not go far enough. We have to ban this stuff because there's no reason for it. There's no real benefits that we get out of this stuff. It doesn't make us safer. It just infringes in a very gross way on our civil liberties. They did something else in London recently where they actually experimented with live facial recognition. What that meant was that police were just sort of sitting in different areas in the city, just scanning people live with cameras. And what they're able to do with it is, say they scan somebody, and again, there's a really good chance it's going to be a mismatch anyway. But let's say they scan somebody and that ID comes up. It might be right. It might not be right. They don't really care. And that person has a warrant out for their arrest, or they have some kind of record. They can just arrest that person on the spot. Now, that's disturbing in London and anywhere else too. But imagine that in a place as over-policed as the United States. I mean, there's certain states in this country where you can get thrown in jail if you have a public intoxication ticket that you didn't pay off, maybe because you don't have the money to pay it off. They can throw you in jail for that in certain states. So imagine a place like the United States where they can just in real time film people. And if a certain match comes up, whether it's you or not, it might not even be you, they can just throw you in jail. This technology is dangerous. It is an overreach. It infringes on our civil liberties a lot. It really provides no benefit because it doesn't even work right. You can go to banfacialrecognition.com, sign the petition to rally your lawmakers to ban this stuff. 3 cities have already banned it. And it's interesting noting which cities have banned it. San Francisco, Oakland, right near Silicon Valley. So the places developing this technology, those places are saying, no, 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 not here. Oakland, California's banned it. San Francisco's banned it. Somerville, Massachusetts has banned it. And it looks like Cambridge is probably going to follow suit. So this is picking up steam. And again, Lucy's excited. You can go to banfacialrecognition.com to sign the petition. And I encourage everybody to do that. Lucy just tried to do it. She just batted a pen out of my hand. It's not that kind of a petition, Lucy. You can't sign it with a pen. You got to sign it on the computer. So,
Allison, can you please share the link on our main page, please? So first, my first thought is, holy shit, I have an identical twin sister. Literally. I don't know if you knew that. Oh, really?
No, you never told me that. Yeah.
And I'm sure my audience is like, holy fuck, 2 of them. I'll tell you, we're nothing alike personality.
Is her name Benevolent Anger? Because yours is Savage Joy. So
growing up, I
didn't think I was the first.
Her name is Teresa, which is so freaking boring. But I'd rather that than Joy. But yeah, I called her Somber and all these different ones growing up. But yeah, so we're identical twins. So I don't know what the hell she's doing in her spare time. What?
Right? Who knows?
I'm not the only identical twin in the world. That's freaky. But then my other thought is, what about all the African-American men? That's my other thought is, holy shit.
Well, there's a big racial, one of the other arguments against this, which there are many, but one of the big ones too, is there's a huge racial bias in this. Black people are mismatched very often. The other groups, all people of color, minority groups get mismatched the most. And then women and children get mismatched the most. In fact, there was a report out in New York recently. They're putting kids in these databases, like kids that have a juvenile offense or something. Like this 14-year-old girl was in the database. Now, here's the good part. So they said, oh, don't worry about this. If it's just a misdemeanor, the photos get destroyed, the records get destroyed. And once they're 21, as long as the record's clean, it gets destroyed. They're making all these promises. They're saying that the city oversees it. Meanwhile, part of the city council didn't even know this was going on. They had no idea this type of technology was even being used, let alone it was being used on children. So apparently people are overseeing something that they don't know exists. That sounds like a pretty sweet gig. Sign me up for that. But anyway, So there's no oversight with this stuff. It's incredible. It's like we just handed a bunch of toddlers fireworks and we're like, oh, what can go wrong here? It's technology that is not there yet technologically, that does not give us any benefits, that is totally unnecessary, and is just already being abused. There's been people that have been wrongfully deported because of this stuff. It's a nightmare. And again, banfacialrecognition.com. Sign that petition. Don't let Benevolent Somber get Joy in trouble. That's
yeah, exactly. Damn it. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Pearson said he signed and shared.
Thank you, Jeff.
This is really, it's scary. But also, so I think I probably know the answer to this, but since Kamala is in the area and she's a cop, has she weighed in?
She actually made a commercial with a 1995 Casio keyboard saying how awesome it is. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't do that.
I was like, oh, okay.
I know, it's really believable, right? But no, she didn't actually do that, at least not to my knowledge. Not many public officials have weighed in on this yet one way or another. I've reached out to some folks and I'm trying to kind of push them on it. It's one of those things where it's still, so in its infancy stages that I guess a lot of elected officials, they don't really want to come down one way or another quite yet. So there hasn't been a ton. There is a bill out there to prohibit this type of stuff being used in public housing, which is great. That's fantastic. And there have been a few public officials that have loaned their support for that. But outside of that, there hasn't really been anyone in the political arena that has come forward, as far as I know.
Well, I think it's advantageous that it's already passed in a few places, because usually that's the first thing, and then we can always say, well, it passed these places.
Right.
That's really daunting, and you're right that I don't think a lot of people really know about this. I admit I've heard of it, and I know it's in the future it's likely, but I think it's awesome you're bringing people's attention to this, because I wasn't as aware as I should have been. What are some of the other things that you can see, being problematic with this?
Well, to bring it back to the States here, Amazon has a program called Ring, which is where you have the video footage at your front door. And, people sign up for this. They want to have surveillance, at their front door to see who's coming to their door. And, that's one thing. But what Amazon is actually doing is they've partnered with over 200 different law enforcement agencies. And what they do is basically, when you get this Ring service, law enforcement tries to sell you on the idea of just letting them have your footage for whatever, like just letting them, in case there's anything suspicious or whatever, let us have your footage. And these conversations kind of happen behind closed doors. So imagine a scenario where a bunch of people have Ring installed in their home or outside of their homes at their front door, and all of a sudden police just have access to all of it. Well, gee, when you add up every house, before you know it, you get pretty much an entire neighborhood, right? So yeah, there's a lot, and this is happening in a very shady manner. It's happening behind closed doors. This conversation has not been transparent at all. Fight for the Future tweeted at Ring about it, and Ring responded, and they were like, "Oh, we're proud that we have these good relationships with law enforcement agencies." Meanwhile, they don't even list which cities they have a relationship with law enforcement in, because they're so proud of it. So this is calling it shady is putting it very gently. It's incredibly just shystery, shady, not cool stuff. And it's happening. It's happening right now. And it's but I think people are waking up to it, because, again, 3 cities have already banned it. It looks like they're about to get a 4th. And hopefully that expands to, the entire country.
Wow. I know this is I digress a little, but I know like a month ago, I read an article that Alexa was people had the ability to listen to some of the Alexa machines. And most people are probably saying, play this song or whatever. But I'm thinking, what if people are searching for porn or something like that, and they're a public official? I want that to come out. I want to hear what's going on.
You want people's porn history to come out, or you want?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's something we all ought to know. Come on. No, you're absolutely right. And there was that one report, and this is kind of going back a way, so I don't remember all the details off the top of my head. I reported on it at Get Your News On with Ron when it happened, but there was a thing where if you ask Alexa for all of your recordings, they have to oblige by that and give them to you. And there was a situation where they sent someone's recordings to the wrong person. So this random person got hours and hours of footage from this other person who asked for it because they were creeped out by the whole thing. And then some other random person got all their footage. So it's scary. I don't use Alexa myself. I know it's they're always listening. You can talk about, whenever I talk about something in conversation, I'll see an ad for something similar on my Instagram, or I'll see an ad even in my inbox in some cases. We all get that. They are listening. It's just happening. And this is just another extension of that is, visual. And, incredibly dystopian. So, again, banfacialrecognition.com. Please sign the petition.
There are actually, now it pisses me off. I think he was in Maryland. I could be wrong, but I really think he was in Maryland. There was a lawmaker who was actually starting a bill to get barcodes on people and chips. And
I've not heard of that. That's yikes.
I mean, like, talk about 1984. Like, this is like, that's like some Matrix shit. Like, chips and barcodes. But facial recognition is also scary.
Facial recognition. Oh yeah. I mean, it really is. It's amazing that we're doing all these like authoritarian type actions. You know, I mean, even down to like, hey, Amazon came out with this project that when you're not, you know, working in the warehouse properly, it'll just give you a nice little shock to your hand. Really employee friendly. You know, we can do stuff like that. But we can't figure out a high-speed rail from San Francisco to San Diego. We can't figure out sustainable energy solutions for our dependency on fossil fuel. We can't figure out any of that. But if you wanna make Orwell look like a documentary, we can make that happen. We're doing what we can to make that come to fruition.
Yeah. Wow, that's so scary. Also, one of the things that it makes me think of is, you know, what about people who have plastic surgery or things like that? And, you know, I mean, I change my hair color every week. Like, how does it, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of.
I mean, you already got a high chance it's going to mismatch you anyway. I mean, yeah. So I mean, again, that speaks to how inaccurate this stuff is, how faulty it is, and what's the point? This isn't keeping us safer. I mean, people are like, well, it'll help them. It'll help them catch a bad guy. Either there's no data supporting that. There's no data supporting that it would make us any safer as a society. That it would help them ID somebody quicker. I mean, all it's done so far, it's have them deport people who shouldn't have even been deported in the first place. It's have them. They've overreached on databases. It has had no positive results at all so far. So when you run a cost-benefit analysis, there is a lot in the cost column. There's literally nothing in the benefit column. Not a thing.
That's so scary because when you think about these people could be deported, falsely incarcerated. Like, this is a big deal. It's not just you get picked up, you go to jail and say, that's not me, and go home. Like, that's terrifying, and it really could happen to anyone, which just it's so creepy. Mark Fabian said, Alexa, track Placone's chip, so be warned.
Noted. My chip would just be like, they're just like, wow, this dude spends way too much time listening to the same punk rock music. He's got to mix it up. He's got to explore some new stuff. People got to send him stuff. But it's like, that's what I like to exercise to, and I'm doing my best. Yeah.
Clash is good to exercise to.
I'm really partial, and I still use Pandora. I know some people, they call me a bit of a Luddite for still loving the Pandora, but I still like the creativity of radio, and even though it's just a computer algorithm doing it, I still appreciate it. I mean, I still listen to some of the stations on Sirius XM. Like, I really like Underground Garage, because that's actually like, I mean, it's modern music, but it's kind of like a throwback in the sense that it's DJs that genuinely want to bring you a solid music mix, and they have personalities and they have themes they go for. I celebrate all that stuff, and so I still appreciate it when it's available to me. But I like the Op Ivy Pandora as far as exercise goes, and I still like Pandora better than Spotify. I know I'm like one of 5 people that feels that way, but I like Pandora.
Allison makes a really good point. She's a teammate. People who wouldn't dream of doing facial recognition are doing it for social media and laziness. That's a really good point. In my office, we have a little kiosk thing that you pay if you get something out of the refrigerator, like a sandwich or whatever. And it literally asks you for your thumbprint to pay. I'm not kidding you.
Well, I have that at my gym. Like, I have a thing at my gym where, like, I push my finger on it, and that's how you check in. It's like a fingerprint, which that's one thing. The face stuff freaks me out. Like, I don't do, and, no offense to anyone who does, that's your business, but the whole Face ID thing on my phone, I don't do. Like I won't put it up to my face. I still just enter my code manually, you know, like I don't,
Yeah.
I never set up the Face ID, and I never will, because I'm like, I don't want that out there somewhere, you know, and we all put pictures of ourselves out there. I mean, I have pictures on Instagram, I have pictures on my Facebook, and they can do whatever they want with that stuff. So, but it's just general photos of me that I don't really care if they're seen. But yeah, as far as like the ID type stuff, I won't even go there. Like before I even knew any of this, with what was really going on with facial recognition technology, I skipped the step when it was like, oh, set up your face on your phone. I'm like, no, I'll pass. I'll take a pass.
Yeah, exactly. It is an interesting dichotomy, though, because you and I are on the air with thousands of viewers a few times a week, and we're like, no, don't take our picture.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I mean, hey, if you want to grab my face off a screenshot or off of a broadcast I do, have at it. Knock yourself out. I don't care about that. But yeah, as far as like this actual technology, so I guess maybe you and I would be less likely to be faulty, because like there's enough of us out there that they're like, oh yeah, that's for sure them. That's not Melancholy the twin. That's definitely Joy.
See, all my ink will give it away. Those are like, I mean, dead giveaway right there. Do you ever, when you go on Facebook and you post pictures or someone else posts pictures, does it ever try to tag someone else when you post a picture of yourself?
Sometimes, yeah, it does that. I can't remember the last time I actually posted a photo on Facebook, because now usually I'll just post it to Instagram, and then I'll just, if I want it on Facebook too, I'll just select Facebook as well. You know, like you can do that. And then I tweet. I mean, Twitter is the one I'm most active on, so sometimes I'll like tweet a photo more likely than I am to post it on Facebook. Facebook, I wanted to just delete my Facebook period, but I need it for like tour dates and stuff. Like, yeah. And you can't, if you have a page, you have to keep your personal one. So I still have my personal one.
Right.
If you've ever messaged me on my personal one and I've never gotten back to you, it's because I didn't see it. Because like I'll occasionally, like I get a ton of messages that go right to my filtered folder, and I check that thing like once a month at best when I remember it exists. And then I'll be like, oh, I should respond to all these people. But yeah, so I slowly respond to everybody who sent me a message when I check my filtered folder, but I don't check it that often. So I'm like way backlogged on that thing because I forget that it exists. So a better way, like my page and message me there. I respond to all those messages instantly. Well, not instantly, but you get the idea. Or email me. I check my email. I check that stuff every day. But yeah, my personal Facebook, I'm just like, I even have a thing where it's like, personal page, don't use it much.
Yeah. For some reason, when someone posts photos of me or I post photos of me, it always tags Bernie. Like, oh, yeah. I'm not kidding you. Always.
You guys have the same glasses.
Well, I think people tag me in his photos all the time, and it just kind of like recognizes it. Wouldn't that be so crazy if I got arrested from facial recognition?
Because they thought you were Bernie?
Yes.
Because they thought you were Bernie.
Like Bernie Sanders arrested.
They're like, Bernie Sanders they found a thing back in the day. He was protesting, they didn't like it. So Bernie, and that's just you. It's like, that's Joy. And then Bernie makes a statement. He's like, facial recognition is very faulty. That wasn't even me. That was Joy. She lives in the state of Pennsylvania.
Joy. Savage Joy. It wasn't
Savage Joy.
Me.
Battling the 1%.
Do you anticipate them doing another live stream event like we did for net neutrality? Yeah,
I mean, the live stream event was specific for net neutrality, so I don't think they're going to do a live stream around this, but they're definitely planning some kind of more, some more kind of creative actions around this campaign and other campaigns they're working on, and I just kind of like, I just kind of hold tight and wait to hear about it. So, but yeah, there's definitely going to be some.
That's awesome. So, what else have you been working on? I know you're East Coast still, right?
No, I live in California.
No, I meant tour dates, silly.
Oh, well, no, I'm going to the Upper Midwest next in September. We are going to Omaha, Nebraska. We are going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We are going to Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Iowa City. You can get those tickets at ronplacone.com. That's me and Graham Elwood on the Progressive Comedy Tour, stand-up tour. And then we're going to Australia in November. So, in fact, I'll announce this here first. Tickets for Melbourne went on sale today. Perth is on sale. Adelaide is on sale. Melbourne is on sale. Those tickets went on sale today. You can go to ronplacone.com to grab those tickets. And Sydney, we're coming. Don't worry. We're just finalizing all the details. Tickets for Sydney will be available very, very soon. So don't worry. We haven't forgotten about you. We are coming. Tickets aren't available quite yet, but we will be coming to Sydney, and tickets will be available soon. Oh, in 2020, we're touring a buttload. We are going to be touring a lot in 2020. We've already broken ground. We're coming back to San Francisco, it looks like. We're going to be touring Arizona some, New Mexico, the Midwest. We're coming to Pennsylvania. We're coming to Ohio. We're coming to Indiana. We're coming to Illinois. We're coming to Wisconsin. We're going to be going to the Southeast again. Nashville, we're coming back. Yeah, we are going to be touring a lot in 2020. We were just kind of looking at the kind of making a skeletal ground game as we speak. Colorado will be coming. So, yeah, we're going to be hitting a lot of places. Milwaukee will be there for the national convention. So we'll be touring a lot. We'll be touring a lot in 2020. So we hope to see a lot of folks on the road.
You guys are gonna have to comfort me there. I'm gonna be a mess. Just so
you'll be in Milwaukee. So we're trying to figure out. Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to do it. Like, we don't know if we'll do something like right before. Because I'd imagine during the convention itself, there's going to be like a lot of events going on. So I don't know if people would be able to go to ours. So we'll probably do it like either right before or right after, like a night. But, we'll figure it out. But we will definitely be there. And, I'm sure we'll be covering some of it too. I don't care for those events personally. I know a lot of people love them. For me, it's not really my cup of tea because I'm not huge on electoral politics. But something like that is so big. I'm sure it'll be a good time. And I'm sure, I'll just find like it's like finding kind of the punk rock table. It's like, where are the non-establishment progressives at? Yeah. That's who I want to hang out with. And it's like you walk past like all the flub, and then you see it. You walk past Kamala's camp and Buttigieg's camp, which by the way, I don't know if you saw, but Pete Buttigieg, he's meeting with a bunch of super delegates, which is very concerning. But I don't know if you know this, Joy. He can say, "Can you help me cheat?" in 7 different languages. So that brings some comfort to it all. But yeah. Anyway, so that's probably what I'll do at the convention.
And did you see he got donations from 23 billionaires?
He's a man of the people. Man of the people. Mayor Pete, just a regular guy in South Bend.
Just a regular guy who doesn't give a shit about black people. Just regular guy.
Did you see that look of daggers? Who's the guy? Was it Swalwell who said, "Why didn't you fire the chief"?
Yeah, I think it was Swalwell.
Was that who it was? Yeah. That was the one good thing that guy did before he dropped out. But yeah, like that was man, the look of daggers Pete Buttigieg gave him was pretty that was pretty epic. That was pretty epic.
Jenna, my girl, you met when I was with when I met you in Pittsburgh last time. She said, Buttigieg.
Buttigieg. Yeah, I like to say his name like Count Chocula. That's how I always say it. Like, Buttigieg. And then he has like, I think he has like 5 fans or something like that. And they'll troll every, YouTube video that criticizes Pete Buttigieg, and they really get mad when they're like, "You're not saying his name right. I can't take you seriously." So I always, I have fun with it. What are you gonna do?
Nick wants to know. Wait, where'd that go? Nick wants to know where in Colorado. Do you have a place?
Well, no, I mean, right now, Colorado is going to be later in 2020 before the election, so we don't have anything set in stone yet. We're still working on the first quarter, but definitely Denver. I would like to do Fort Collins. I would like to do maybe Colorado Springs. We'll probably do like 4 stops there because we'll probably fly in, do 4 shows, and fly back. So probably Denver, probably Fort Collins, and then maybe the Springs, and then maybe we'll do like Durango or something weird like that. I don't know. Where do you live? Email wherever you want to see us. Email us, and we'll see what we can do. Because we do like listener input for that stuff.
When you come back to PA, all I ask is tell me to introduce you again, and I'm gonna try not to fall off the stage this time. I want to redeem myself. That's my goal.
You know, for what it's worth, it was a really graceful fall. And then I was in the weird situation where I was like, do I say something or do I just kind of make sure she's okay? I opted to just do the latter because I was like, if I say something into the microphone, that's like I know if that was me, I'd be like, please, person, don't say something into the microphone. That would just make it 10 times worse. So please, person, do not say something into the microphone. So I made sure I didn't. But then I was worried. I was like, did it come across like I didn't care? But it's like I totally, yeah. But anyway,
Graham was Superman because he's like, just like darted across the room. And
he does it. I mean, he can fly. I've seen it. Like we'll go to like the workout center in a hotel or something because when we tour together, we know how to party. So like we'll be going to the exercise room and he'll just fly around. I'm like, that's pretty epic, dude. I'll just be on like on an elliptical machine. I'm very humbled. I'm like, dude, he can fly. Look at him go.
I'm going to tell you guys a really quick story because I've never shared this and I don't know why. So Ron asked me to work the door when he and Graham were in Philly, and I went to stay so I could see them. So I'm working the door. He gives me the list. I'm just checking people off who has a ticket, things like that.
The comic we had booked bailed on us. We usually book a comic to work the door for us, and then we let them like host the show and pay them or whatever, and they bailed. So I was like, oh geez, I got to enlist like a friend who's coming, and I was like, Joy, can you help out?
I'm good. I thought it was going to be a simple task, but apparently it was too much for me to handle because Ron's parents came, and I didn't realize it was them, and his dad was saying 2 for Placone, and I go, right, but what's the name? What name is it under? He's like, Placone, and I'm like, I know, I'm with Ron, but what's the name under? And he's like, and then a woman comes over and says, this is Ron's parents. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm sure they didn't care. They probably got a kick out of it. I don't think they ever mentioned that to me, actually. Like, they never told me that story.
They felt bad because I fell like 10 minutes later.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, was that girl on drugs? What kind of people do you have working for you? What the hell? They're sweethearts, though.
Yeah, well, I was thinking I'm pretty sure I did hand somebody a joint, like, right in front of them. So, yeah, they're pretty chill about that kind of stuff. They're not.
Yeah, I think you were
like, I had to think about that, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did that, yeah. Oh.
You smoked with your mom at a concert or something.
Yeah, well, a couple times. Yeah, a couple times. But, yeah, the story I tell is when we, at a Tom Petty show. Yeah.
So, apparently, Byrne was on Joe Rogan today and talked about when he smoked pot. And everybody's like freaking out.
Was he on it today or yesterday or both? Because he was on it yesterday.
Oh, it could have been.
I thought it was yesterday. I don't know. I need to check all that out. I really want to listen to all of it. Because I think that's I think it's important that candidates do the most popular podcast in the world, which is what Joe Rogan is. You know, well, and then this one in a close second. But, I mean, Joe Rogan, he's got the most popular podcast on the planet. So it's like, I'm glad Bernie did it. I'm really, really glad Bernie did it. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. And people were sharing screenshots of the comments. I don't read my comments because
I don't read mine either.
You don't either? I don't know anyone who does. But people were sharing the comments and they were like, oh my God, I never considered voting for him. But when he just speaks candidly, I really like him. I think I'm going to vote for him now and things. And it's so refreshing to be able to see him just candidly. I think when people get to see him that way, they really start liking him.
That's the thing, and it's always been that way for him. He has a way to reach unlikely voters, people who don't vote that often, people who, are usually turned off to. I firmly believe, and I know we've had this conversation many times, I don't think that, people in rural America are turned off by progressive policies. I think they're turned off by the limousine liberalism of the Democratic elite. They feel judged and left out by those institutions. And so someone like a Bernie Sanders is successfully cutting through that, and that's what needs to happen. And, he has the ability to reach unlikely voters, him, and the only other person who can do that is Tulsi Gabbard out of the group of people that's running. Those are the only two. Liz Warren, maybe a little bit, but I mean, how many times can we give her the benefit of the doubt? By the way, everyone's, well, I know you're done with her, and I don't blame you. I pretty much am too. Well, even today, she came out with a plan for public broadband, which I was thrilled. I'm glad to see candidates talking about that. It's Liz Warren, so we'll see what she says next week. But nonetheless, I'm glad to see candidates talking about that. But once again, she's getting all these accolades for it. Bernie said it first. You can find a clip on my channel. Get Your News On with Ron. I have a playlist dedicated to net neutrality and municipal broadband. Bernie talked about universal broadband in May. We covered it on this show, or on Get Your News On with Ron, and you can see that clip. So Bernie got there first. One thing I will say, I wish they would have pumped that a little bit more, because now, and when I say they, I mean the campaign themselves, because now Liz Warren's getting all this credit for it, because it's an idea that people like. People like the free and open internet. People want net neutrality. So she's getting a bunch of credit for something that was originally Bernie, and I wish they would have I wish they would have amplified that more in May. But, Yeah,
it's amazing how she's coming up with all these plans, even though she just ran for re-election of Senate 9 months ago and had none of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of amazing. I'd love to know this epiphany or whatever happened. So what do you think about Gravel endorsing Bernie, and then he comes out, okay, wait, it was Bernie and Tulsi, and it's just been a clusterfuck? What do you think? Do you think that it was good to go with both?
I think he always was a fan of both, so I'm not surprised that that's kind of what he said. And as far as was there miscommunication on, did he actually endorse one? Did he actually endorse both? I've followed that stuff very kind of arm's lengthy, I mean, I saw the tweet that the campaign put out, and then I also saw the interview with Primo Nutmeg, where he said that he was into both. And I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of hoping they team up because I just think that's the only chance we have. So, do I personally have a problem with him endorsing both? Not really. I mean, I think that's kind of what he wants. He wants to see a progressive ticket that really has a shot at the White House. I think that's the best shot we got is a Bernie and Tulsi president VP combo. I still do feel that way. I'd get behind it if it was, arranged differently too. If it was Bernie and Nina or something like that. Although I don't think Nina wants the gig. But yeah, I kind of think that's the best shot we have. I think if we don't really have a united progressive front, it's not going to be big enough for them to not cheat us again, and they're going to try anyway. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been having a lot of issues with Tulsi lately, with her defending Biden over and over, things like that. I'm having issues.
Oh, they've both, I mean, don't get me wrong, they've both ticked me off before, I mean, Bernie Sanders has disappointed me at times. Tulsi Gabbard has disappointed me at times. And, what I tell people, I'm like, guess what? If they get in the White House, which I really hope they do, they're both going to disappoint us sometimes. And when I say this, I'm not trying to be like one of those oh, come on, purists. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying there's a huge difference between somebody's genuinely trying to do the right thing and they don't really always walk step and toe with me all the time. They do some things I disagree with. They make some decisions that I'm not on board with. They make some compromises that I'm not thrilled about. There's a big difference between that and somebody who constantly makes a decision based on who's buying them. Those are two completely different things. That's why even though Bernie is far from perfect, Tulsi Gabbard is far from perfect, but there is a world of difference between them and pretty much everyone else running because, they're not purchased by Wall Street. So, to me, it's like I see a difference between those two things. When Tulsi Gabbard does something I disagree with, there's a big difference that, with her doing it versus Cory Booker or Joe Biden, because, they're just playing two completely different games.
Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but I did see a picture of Tulsi last month with Yang, and then now she's added UBI to her platform, and she's like talking about automation. So I'm kind of like, what do you think?
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not thrilled to hear it if that is true. I'm not against. Yeah. I'm not against the concept of a UBI, but I'm not for it in the way that Yang's for it. Like I'm not
he doesn't
for
support a federal job guarantee. Neither
he doesn't.
Does she.
He doesn't, and does she not either?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, so I'm not. Yeah, like I'll take your word for it. I mean, I'm not doubting you. I just don't know if that's true or not off the top of my head, but I know he for sure does not. Huh?
I'll send you screenshots.
I'll take your word for it. But yeah, so she's not for it. He's not for it. Yeah, I mean, the UBI and the way he wants it is like basically just dismantling social programs and then giving people $1,000 a month, which I'm not for. I'm also not for. The idea of UBI is not completely bad in principle, but if it doesn't come with extensive rent control, it's just going to be worthless real quick. Because landlords all over the country are going to know that everybody has an extra $1,000 a month. So yeah, I mean, as far as her talking UBI now, I'm not familiar with that. But I'm not happy to hear it, at least not right now. I mean, I would need to look into the details, but.
It just started like the past 2 weeks. Like it's like a newer thing, but I'm thinking, I don't think she knew him before she ran. Like I don't think a lot of us didn't know who he was, but I don't know. I'm just getting this feeling like maybe she would drop and endorse him. I don't know.
I hope not. I mean, and I don't I'm not a big Yang fan. He does have some pretty cool ideas. And I will say this in his favor. I wish that every single person running for president would model their website after his. He has by far the most extensive website I've ever seen any candidate ever anywhere having. So I'll tip my hat to him there. And he does have a couple ideas that I like. They're not the main ideas you always hear about, but he does have a couple ideas that I like a journalism fund and stuff like that. That being said, I certainly would not want to see someone like a Tulsi Gabbard endorse him. So I don't think that'll happen, but, who knows?
I just don't really trust people. So I'm just kind of preparing myself for, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't trust people. But yeah, I was kind of surprised when she started talking about that. Did you know, I forget if we talked about this before, but did you know that come Iowa, so let's say right now there's still 25 people in the race, which is absurd on the Dem side. Did you know that when Iowa comes, if there's still 20 people or more, the candidate, each candidate would need at least 15% to get a single delegate.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, let's say Bernie gets 13, Tulsi gets 4. We are fucked. Nobody gets shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a concern, Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like, I don't know. A lot of people say they think she's going to drop. Even Mike Revelle, his teens who have spoken with her said, they thought she was going to drop out in a few weeks. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think she's in to the end, or?
I think she'll make a calculated decision. I mean, again, I'm kind of hoping the two of them team up because I think if they don't, we're not getting out of a primary. That's just the way I see it. I think that they are the two strongest progressives in the race by a lot compared to everybody else. And I think that they would be a pretty strong ticket if they teamed up. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think if we have anything less than that, I don't know if it's going to be enough to get out of a primary because even Bernie Sanders with everything he's built, they're still going to try everything and throw everything in the kitchen sink at him to cheat him. So, he can't do it alone. And Tulsi Gabbard certainly couldn't do it alone. I mean, she doesn't have near what he's built. Like, she just doesn't have that big of a name yet. So I kind of think as far as candidates go, those two really need to join forces, or the chances of us being loud enough to cheat or to overcome the cheating of the DNC is just not going to happen. And going further down the road, I think if you throw a centrist up against Trump, they lose, and then we're stuck with Trump for another 4 years. So that's what I want to see. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of like arguing back and forth about, oh, well, Tulsi did this and it ticked me off. Oh, well, Bernie did that and it ticked me off. And it's like, yeah, that's okay. They're both allowed to tick you off. But at the end of the day, they're by far the best two we got, and we kind of need them on the same team here to have a shot at getting out of the primary. That's the way I see it. I think anything less, we don't get out of a primary. And if we don't, my big concern certainly isn't going to be, oh, which person made more mistakes, Tulsi or Bernie?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's unfortunate to see Berners and Tulsi-crats like kind of just butting heads, because what's going to happen is if she does drop, we're going to need a coalition. We're going to need to come together, because like if Bern wins the nomination, there's like a bajillion% chance she will be in his cabinet, be it VP, be it Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, I don't know, but she'll be involved. So it's upsetting to see everyone kind of going at each other like that. But I totally agree with you.
Well, I mean, my thing is, and I'm not saying you do or don't, I have no idea, but I don't participate in that stuff. Like I just don't. I mean, I'll critique each, when I feel like it's appropriate. I'll say when Bernie does something I'm not a fan of. I'll say when Tulsi does something I'm not a fan of. A couple things Tulsi did recently I wasn't a big fan of at all. But as far as like when you start, I feel like when you start like just sort of being like, oh, but Bernie did this, well, Tulsi did this, yeah, but Bernie did this. I kind of feel like in some ways it's like, gee, we're kind of doing the establishment's job for them, aren't we?
Exactly.
I mean, isn't this kind of what they want? And
like neolibs are screenshotting this shit. Like seriously, it's drinking wine and
that's what we would find. Exactly, that's what we would find in their porn history, right?
Exactly,
we would find. And then it's, it's one of those things, Bernie and Tulsi, if I had to put someone in third, I guess Liz Warren, because who else do you put in third, really? But it's like...
I write him in again.
Yeah, well, I would vote. I live in California. I would vote green. There's no question. I'm just saying for the sake of conversation, if I had to make a list, Liz Warren would be in third. But it's like, after that one spot and that two spot, there's a huge, huge, huge drop of what I would want to see in the White House. And honestly, even if like a moderate candidate or a corporatist or whatever you want to call it, even if they were to get in, we can't handle an underwhelming presidency. It's unbelievable. Like people like Michael Bennet, who of course has no chance, but he's like literally highlighting the fact that he's just like, you can just go back to sleep. I'll take care of things. I'll just kind of push the cart along. And we'll be okay, I think. Like, no, we won't be okay, because then you'll get trounced in 4 years after 4 years of doing nothing. And then we're going to get stuck with a worse Trump. And climate change is happening, buddy. So it's, we need to take a sharp turn right now. And that's why, I don't think it's a good idea to just kind of bicker between Bernie v. Tulsi stuff, because we need both of them to get through a primary. That's all it is. We need both of the movements that they've built, which they've built part of it together too, to be honest. So it's like, we need that movement to be as loud as possible to get out of a primary. And otherwise we're not getting out of it. And they're going to have some horrible centrist candidate who's going to lose to Trump. Biden would get crushed.
Biden can beat Trump. Do you?
I think she'd have a shot. I don't think she'd be likely to beat Trump. I'm just saying, if I had to list the establishment candidates, like she's, I would put her a little bit ahead of Booker or Kamala or anyone like that. Right. Sure. But I would not bet on her winning. No, I think she would likely lose. I think if I had to say which corporate candidates might have a shot at beating him. And again, I'm speaking strictly from, an electoral standpoint. I think Kamala might have an inkling of a shot. I think Liz Warren has a slightly better shot. I think Pete Buttigieg would have a small shot.
Because he's a Republican.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think anyone else has no shot whatsoever. I mean, I think Beto O'Rourke would get trounced. I think Joe Biden, it would be a bloodbath. It'd be embarrassing. And I don't. Maybe Kirsten Gillibrand, if she got the right branding, no pun intended, behind her. But
she's polling at 2% still, and I'm surprised because people really seem to love her at debates and stuff. But like, she cannot get above 2%.
There's nothing exciting about her candidacy. She does, I mean, and again, speaking strictly from a debate standpoint, she did do very well. She had a very good showing in that debate. I don't agree with a lot of what she has to say, but she had a good showing in that debate. But there's just nothing all that exciting about her candidacy. And same goes for a lot of them. The only reason there's still this many people in it is because the gravy trains are flowing for all of them, because the establishment's really scared of a Bernie Sanders actually being in the White House.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you find out about Buttigieg talking to super delegates? Is that an article?
Yeah, it's out there. Just Google Buttigieg meets with super delegates. It was on the news today.
He was a Hillary delegate.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but yeah, I didn't know that. That's not surprising at all. I mean, he has. There's like a former DNC person who's big up in his campaign, and he's tight with the Daily Beast. So yeah, I mean, he's totally part of the Hillary camp. Which by the way, I mean, Hillary and Chelsea are writing a book together about conversations they have with influential women. So I can't wait for your chapter, Joy. I'm really excited for it.
Well, you know what? I did comment on their announcement, and I said that is Juanita Broderick mentioned in the Strong Women.
Well, you know what I tweeted? I was like, it's really admirable when someone gets tied to a chair for 8 hours because they want to participate in democracy. So I can't wait to hear your conversation with Jill Stein.
It's going to be like, it'll be Nancy Pelosi. Who else?
I don't know. I mean, Neera Tanden, maybe. I don't know. It's gonna be a book that I will never look at or buy. That's what it's gonna be. And
it's gonna fail like their tour tickets. But in any case, is there anything you want to leave our viewers with? Anything we didn't?
Well, I'll just rehash the plugs. Go to banfacialrecognition.com, sign the petition to ban facial recognition. RonPlacone.com for all my tour dates. We're coming to the Upper Midwest in September. Omaha, Sioux Falls, Madison, Minneapolis, Iowa City. Get your tickets now. Australia, November, we're coming. RonPlacone.com for those tickets. And then 2020, where do you want to see me? Go to RonPlacone.com. Where do you want to see us come? We're going to be touring all over the country in 2020. We're laying the groundwork now, confirming some dates. Where do you want to see us? We'll see you there.
In my basement.
We'll see what we can do.
Party. Thank you so much for joining us. You're always such a blast. My viewers freaking love you.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be interviewed on a new podcast called The Plebis Project, which is actually, he just started, I believe, like a month ago or so, and he hit me up. So I'm going to that like literally right now. And then it'll be up on YouTube in like an hour. So I'll put the link in Real Progressive so you guys can click when you see it. Also, in case you don't know, I am doing the debate a week from Saturday, the 17th. I'll be holding a debate with the 3 Dems running against Pelosi. So I think it should be interesting to kind of, see, where they stand on things, hopefully to build some kind of consensus on who progressives will vote for so it doesn't get split like last time. Ron, since you're in Cali, do you have a preference of any of the three?
Well, I mean, I'll be totally honest, and this is no offense meant to the other two running, but the only one I'm familiar with is Shahid Buttar. So, yeah, I mean, it's not, Jaffe's not running again, is he? Or is he? Okay, yeah, I mean, and I love Jaffe. I like him a lot. Yeah. I like Shahid too. I like both of them, and but Shahid's the only one I'm familiar with out of the people that are running. And yeah, I hope a situation like last time is avoided.
Yeah, so, right on. We have to tune in then, damn it. So you can learn about the other people.
I'll check it out.
Don't be jealous. I thought of it first.
I look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Thanks for having me.
I love you. And thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for all you're doing. I really love what y'all are doing over at Real Progressives. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. Bye, Lucy.
Right. Bye. Cheers.